Alright everyone, today we're going to talk about Archway and why should you care. So Archway is the value capture chain. Basically Archway provides developers with different ways in which they can capture the value of the decentralized applications that they create. So they can add fees to leverage the transactions processed by the smart contracts, or also they can leverage inflationary rewards and much more. So up in the top you can see that in the learn section we have both the technical overview and the papers. So here we're gonna look now at the Lightpaper to get some more information on how Archway actually works. And we can see there is a lot of information. If you are interested in getting into the details of what Archway is, I really suggest you to look at this Lightpaper because it gives you an extremely good overview of the whole protocol. So, of course, this is not a financial advice, and let's get to it. So, Archway is aiming at creating a fair system where also developers get their fair share. Archway is leveraging CosmWasm and IBC to allow developers to not only create decentralized applications that are interoperable and secure, but also that they can capture the value that they create through gas rebates, inflations, and contract premiums. So when it comes to gas rebates, you can think of that all the gas that is paid for transactions, 50% of it goes to decentralized applications. So basically, depending on how many transactions your smart contract is processing, then your smart contract will receive a proportional amount of gas. So this is really important because it means that depending on how much usage a decentralized application provides to the network, then that decentralized application, that smart contract, receives enough tokens to actually sustain its operations. But not only that, but also every smart contract gets tokens from inflation. So there are inflationary rewards where 25% is given to decentralized applications and 75% to validators. So validators are not the only one to leverage the value that Archway provides, but also developers themselves. And this is a quite innovative approach, and this is actually something that has been missing so far in the industry, because always when developers would create a smart contract, even if that smart contract was extremely successful, only the infrastructure providers, for example the validators, would get value out of it, because the users that would use the smart contract would pay basically for the validators to process transactions. In the case of Archway, this is a game changer, because basically developers can finally create sustainable operations out of their decentralized application and make sure that their DApp is actually solid and resilient in the long run. And the third way that developers can capture the value of the decentralized applications that they create is through contract premiums. So developers can set up fees in order to basically make sure that the decentralized application that they create is used in a way that actually makes sense for them. So dApps can basically earn both transaction fees and percentage of inflation. On top of this is going to be also the contract premiums that developers can set up in a custom way by basically modifying the contract metadata. So this is literally a game changer, as I said, because it puts developers back into the center. So developers are the ones who are creating value in the network by fostering innovation, and with Archway they finally have a way to be recognized for their work. And of course this unlocks a lot of exciting use cases where, for example, developers can subsidize gas fees, allowing users not to pay network fees because they would use the rewards to do it. They can create governance incentives in order to incentivize people to vote on governance. They can get more help on the developer team to sustain their operations, and so on. So like there is really a lot of things going on, and Archway leverages IBC, so your decentralized applications is connected to the whole Cosmos ecosystem and more, because now IBC is getting more and more of a solid standard for inter-blockchain communication. So that's literally the place you want to be, right? And this is the technical paper. If you are a dev or just would like to know more how things works under the hood, this is a perfect way to start. And this is, to be honest, it's an extremely good resource, even if you are just interested to know how the Cosmos SDK chains work. So you can read about the difference of an app chain and a dApp, and also like you can see how the ABCI interface works. So this is a really good way, if you're not familiar with the Cosmos ecosystem, to get your to get a lot of information out of it and get yourself up to speed. And in this paper, you're also gonna see all the different modules that Archway uses, and for example the rewards and the tracking module. So for example the fee grant module, it's what allows accounts to pay for the fees of another account. So this is what allows, for example, the use cases of subsidizing the gas fees. There is also the rewards module, which is actually the module that allows developers to capture the value of their own decentralized applications, and you can see here the incentives. So you can actually see the formula, how this is well structured, and what makes it possible. You can see also the inflation incentives, how they work, and you can see the exact calculation for the formula. You can also see what is the minimum consensus fee, which is actually something that is really important to know about, especially if you are developing decentralized applications on top of Archway. So that's it. Here we have the Lightpaper, the technical paper, but not only that, we can actually go into the website and you will see that there is the rewards tracker. So here you can actually estimate more or less how much value you would be capturing, depending on how many transactions your smart contract is processing. So yeah, you can play with it, play with different numbers, with the average transaction gas, how many transactions you expect your smart contract to process. You can also see how the different contract premium values will affect how much value you're actually capturing. So this is a lot of information, but there is more. So we actually have the docs.archway.io, which is all the docs, technical and non-technical, which would actually be a perfect way also to start and starting to know how, for example, create your Kepler wallet, create a Cosmos address, and how you can also create your wallet using the Cosmostation app. Also, you can see how to use the ledger to integrate with Kepler or without. You can also see what is important to consider when it comes to staking. So you will be able to understand what are the different elements that are important when it comes to delegating to a validator. You can see how to delegate through Kepler, you can see how to delegate through Cosmostation, and also using other tools. Also very important here is the governance, so you can see how to actually interact with the Archway governance system, and this is extremely important in order to be part of the network. Make sure that the network is as decentralized as possible and that you have your voice heard. So you can create proposals, you can vote on proposals with different tools, right? Both with wallets or with the Archway Connect, which is a wonderful tool that allows you to get straight into the Archway ecosystem. So you can see also there is a lot of information regarding rewards. There are a lot of tutorials. If you are a developer, this is the spot you want to be, because you're going to learn how to use the different developers tools, both the CLIs, the Arch3JS. You're going to see the different tutorials. There is also 2 guides regarding creating a decentralized application and an NFT app. So this is a lot of information that really helps you to get started, both to learn about Archway, to develop on top of Archway, or anything else. So you can see, if you want to run a node, you can see there are different tutorials and guides on how to do it, different considerations. You can see how to join a network, both from Genesis, with state-sync, to snapshot. You can see all the tips and considerations that you need to take into account in order to become a validator. You also will see in detail instructions on how to do it. In the resource section, you will also be able to see all the networks available, the IBC channels where Archway is having relayers that broadcast IBC messages to and from. And in the Learn About Archway section, you can see what are the differences between developing a dApp chain or a simple dApp. So here you can see the different considerations. You can understand more what are the gas rebates, the inflation, and the smart contract fees, which are topics that we covered before in the Lightpaper. You are seeing also there is the rewards overview, so this goes a bit more in detail on how the reward module works, and it also shows what are the different ways that you can interact and engage with the community, all the different channels and apps. So not only this, but there is also a huge amount of information regarding CosmWasm. So if you really want to know how to develop CosmWasm dApps, then that's also a wonderful section to have a look at. If you want to learn what are the differences between, for example, developing a smart contract in Solidity or developing it in CosmWasm, and the reason why you may want to do it in CosmWasm, then there is a section for that. So this is the comparison. It shows how different are these 2 approaches and the different considerations that have been learned in CosmWasm by seeing other protocols doing their own choices. So all these documentations also gives you an understanding on how the actor model works in CosmWasm and how to unit test and all the different specifics of CosmWasm. So there are also tutorials regarding creating smart contracts with CosmWasm, how to test them, and this is really a wonderful section to have a look at, dig into it, and even if you're not so technical, this is a really good place to learn a lot about CosmWasm and the whole Cosmos ecosystem. So you don't necessarily need to get into the developers sections if you're not a developer, but for sure it really makes sense to understand why CosmWasm is so important, why Archway is using it, and everything regarding IBC and so on. So yeah, these are the docs. There is a constant work in progress in making them better, creating more content, more tutorials, and just give everybody the understanding on why Archway is so important, why developers care so much about Archway, because it makes their life easier and their decentralized applications more resilient in the long run, and how this protocol really makes developers be in the center of the innovation by allowing them to capture the value that they create. So as you see, there is a lot of information that you can look at, and there is a lot of excitement about Archway and the upcoming mainnet. So stay tuned, follow our communication on Discord, engage with the community, look at the docs, learn by looking at the tutorials if you are developers. If you're not, maybe you want to learn how to be, and Archway and Area 52 is a wonderful place to start. So yeah, make sure you are tuned, because Archway finally brings value to developers, and you really want to be part of it. Cheers.